it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Finally, you're over it. I am understanding that you're now like at 2 weeks and a few days
Yes.
from your surgery, your famous explant surgery. I came to just get some tips and tricks from what you've been through. You are so brave. Here she is. And here I am, have to go through a similar journey soon. But how did you get on this path to even remove the implants?
I had some symptoms, but I never made the connection with the implants. A few months ago, you mentioned about it, like that fatigue and brain fog and headaches can be connected to the implant. At that point, I thought you're a little weird, like it cannot be, any correlation.
Understandable. I think I'm weird myself.
Then you sent me some videos and you shared some groups. You brought awareness and you made me curious. I was part of those groups, and that's when I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one that I have all those symptoms. Thousands of women that they do explant, and when I saw explant and it's connected with breast implant illness, I got to this point with having a lot of like headaches, brain fog, fatigue, skin rashes, chronic infections, inflammation in my body, and my labs would come out like good. Doctors would be like, oh no, you're fine. Like, it's weird, there is something more. It cannot be just like my labs are okay. These doctors are telling me that I'm fine. My hormones, everything. I would do MRIs and CT scans and everything was okay, but then I still went through a lot of pain and inflammation. So that was for me, like, I guess, a wake-up call.
It's interesting because I saw in some groups, and we're talking here about some Facebook groups from various surgeons profiled on explant surgeries, that there's a list of symptoms. It's a list of like 48 symptoms, and we can actually get that list and attach it here for everybody watching. There's so many symptoms that are either localized to the breast or systemic. A lot of them, like chronic inflammation, for example, is something that I'm going through, or chronic fatigue syndrome. It's not something that you can pinpoint to the chest directly. It could be so many reasons, so many things. In your situations, how did you end up correlating the symptoms that you had to the fact that it has to be related to the breast?
Being in those groups and also watching a documentary, Explant, those implants have silicone, heavy metals, and again doing the researches and listening to other testimonies, other thousands of women that are sharing the same symptoms like mine. I heard the first time in my life about breast implant illness. So then I did my researches, and again they were like I found out over 50 symptoms. It's like, you have a foreign body in your body.
How many years you had the implants on? And what kind of implants you had, and what brand, what size?
I had them for 17 years.
Wow.
And they were under the muscle, 345 cc.
Each?
Yes, each. The brand was Mentor.
But is it a silicone or saline? Silicone. You had silicone. So just like me, yes, I don't have the Mentor, but they're also silicone. But I also want to point out for whoever has saline that the saline implants are no safer, and there's proof of this because there's still it's a saline liquid encapsulated in a silicone bag, and that silicone bag basically it's heavy metals and toxin to the body, which stagnates on our chest, on our heart.
I actually saw in this documentary how those saline implants have like mold inside, which it's in our body, and that's why there are so many symptoms, right? Chronic infections. And
when did your symptoms start actually, and how did they evolve after the surgery?
Started right after my implant surgery, at least that I remember, my headaches. But again, I never thought that it can be the implants.
Sure, they can be from so many reasons. The headaches make sense.
Yeah.
I remember you actually having serious migraines, not just headaches, and you were having it pretty frequently.
Yes, weekly. And then gastritis, inflammation, as I said, in my body, chronic fatigue, chronic infections, anxiety, depression.
Wow. So all these symptoms basically just came over time, and you got used to it, and you put life on them because you do have 2 children. You did have 2 C-sections, I remember, and yeah, they just accumulate. And of course, there are other triggers in life, right? It's life as we know it, with ups and downs, and it just kept on piling up.
Yeah, I thought it's postpartum depression, the hair loss as well. I connected with the postpartum.
And you decided, okay, maybe it is your implants. How did you end up finding the surgeon? I remember me recommending somebody, but how did you decide to go with this particular surgeon? I mean, there's so many surgeons out there.
Well, for me, it was very important to go with someone that does just explants and focuses just on that.
The implants are still so popular that majority of the surgeons, I think 99% of the surgeons, still do both surgeries, the implant and the explant. And why you didn't like that?
He never did implants.
This particular surgeon never
yes.
did implants.
I feel that who does implants, knowing the risk of having implants and knowing the toxins that is in a woman's body, it's like they are doing just for money, not caring about us. So for me, that was a huge factor.
Right, to interrupt you, I'm thinking it's such a double standard, right? You implant on one side, take the money on, and then you already know that the woman is going to have to explant as well. Because even without the symptoms, they're not guaranteed only for 10 years. So such a money-making machine at the end of the day.
And now, actually, the explant is more expensive than the implants.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that. So you chose a surgeon that only explants. So how did you end up choosing the surgeon to the point that you knew that this is it?
The fact that he is very knowledgeable. We had an online consultation.
Why online?
Because he's in Michigan. So
let's tell everybody that you actually flew out of state to have your surgery done just because you considered him a specialist in his field.
Yes, and he has a lot of years in this field. Now, on all those groups with breast implant illness and his specific group on Facebook, I see all these good testimonies, reviews. I heard just beautiful, good things about him. So I'm like, my intuition also told me, okay, this is it. I watched different videos that he has on YouTube, and he's very transparent. So I really like that. Very knowledgeable, as I mentioned.
So was he truly worth for you to like have all this commotion with flying out, leaving your home, and have that done there? And also tell me a little bit, how's your atmosphere around the home around this time? Young children.
Definitely, I recommend him, and I feel that that was the right decision for me. I had the support from my family. I had to train my kids. Mommy is gonna go through a surgery, and I'm gonna have a big boo-boo. You cannot squeeze me or like hug me tight or jump on me. They are at this age that they understand things. I was impressed of them responding to, very mature, I would say, for their age. My husband being supportive, and my parents-in-law, they are the only ones that I have here from like my family. And then you guys, my friends, neighbors.
For anybody who doesn't have this kind of support system from like parents or in-laws or a partner, I think it's vital to either get a friend or simply hire a nurse, because you cannot do this alone. I mean, from the messages that you sent me, I realized that there's no way I can also start this journey until I have my own mom around, or it's a serious surgery. How did you navigate going out of state? I mean, you had the surgery in February, and in Miami obviously it's warm, but Michigan full on winter and snow. So how did you prepare for this?
I'm also like, I have this impulsive personality. When I decide something, I really go for it, and I try to block everything that is negative.
No excuses.
All right. So these symptoms that started to come even more intense before the surgery, like 3 weeks before the surgery, I would have every weekend a crisis, throwing up, headaches, this like muscle pain. It was very scary, honestly.
Interesting. It seems like the universe was giving you a nudge, a push, like, if you don't do it now, when?
Exactly. I'm like, if it's not now, then when?
I assume you cannot schedule from a day to another, so you had to find a date and stick with it. How much longer in advance do you have the chance to schedule with him?
Myself, I schedule around December.
So around like 3 months in advance, 2-3 months in advance. That's kind of classical from the surgeons that I've looked up. Actually, the popular ones would be, blocked for like 4 months at a time. So when you finally get a date, it's important to not change your mind.
I guess, if I remember well, I decided somewhere in November, and I shared this with my husband. He was first like, are you sure, that you want to go so far and travel? There were a few questions, and he was not even making the connection again with the implants, all these symptoms. But then right before the surgery, after I decided already and everything was okay, the Airbnb and seeing me going through a very hard time and him having to go to work and seeing me throwing up, he would be like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? You know, the kids. And thank God I have my parents-in-law, but I don't know what I would have done without them. So that was for both of us the sign. This is it. We're gonna do
Wow,
it.
so you even had like some sort of vomiting with your symptoms and your migraines?
Yes.
Wow, so quite intense. I can imagine with such young kids how it is. Have you been to Michigan before? Were you familiar at all? Did you have anybody there? How did you prepare for it? Or
Never.
the surgeon has it, his team do they have some sort of instructions and preparation for this?
I never been there before, neither my husband. I didn't know how is the weather there. But right before, like 2 weeks before the surgery, I started to see those snowstorms. And, you know, we are from Romania. We kind of like know what snow means. But being like now, I didn't see snow in like 12 years.
Wow.
I was like, you know what? It can be an adventure. Let's go. My husband never saw real snow in his life. So I'm like, there you go.
Let's make it a vacation.
Yes.
So you didn't take your kids with you?
No, just me and my husband, and my kids stay with my parents-in-law.
How did you find where to stay? Is his clinic conveniently located for anybody that wants to choose the same surgeon? How did you find, the environment there?
I thought the perfect place to stay, it would be for us an Airbnb. It's this beautiful Airbnb that they have everything that someone that goes through on explant surgery.
If you don't mind referring out, we can actually share that. I remember me recommending you somebody too, so we should definitely link the for people to know.
So like a beautiful view, and they have this.
Your pictures looked amazing.
Yes.
It looked like a fairy tale. I'm happy you actually enjoyed it.
Yeah. What I like is that it's close to the doctor's office.
Okay, so quite conveniently located. When did you actually fly there compared to the date of the surgery?
My surgery was on Wednesday, February 4th, and on Monday, 2nd.
The same week on Monday. And how long was the surgery and how many days did you stay after?
The surgery was 5 hours, a little over 5 hours.
Wow.
Doctors told me before that the surgery is gonna be 3-4 hours, but if it's any complications or like, then it's gonna be a little over. I flew right next day. He said I can fly back home.
The very next day
after
the
that was my case.
From my research, I noticed that from a professional explant surgeon, the surgery is about 4 hours long or more, depending on age, implant, and complications. And so there's a standard and there's an individual component, right? We're all different. Our bodies are different. It depends on case to case. So in your case, you were cleared the day after. Congratulations. I mean, you're young, you were healthy otherwise, but I think varies by case that probably other women, from what I read in the group, should stay like the whole week.
Right.
They don't get the clearance right away. You flew, my gosh, you flew the next day after clearing. And then, so how was the flight for you? And was the surgery considered successful? I mean, you're sitting here, I'm assuming that everything went well. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I was able to fly next day because they also put this like a second anesthesia, which like didn't let me feel the pain yet. You know, that stays in the body for like a few days.
I think it's called Exparel, right? And it's something that it's a little bit newer on the market. What is that for?
To delay the pains after the surgery, right?
So it prolongs the effects of the numbness and of the anesthesia.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And instead of feeling it per se a few hours in or 24 hours in, it actually delays it. I think I read with 3 to 5 days, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. That's when I started to feel like 4 days being home. I started to feel the pain and being more like feeling that, okay, I had surgery. Now you ask about the surgery. It was successful, and unfortunately the doctors found actually leaking the silicone in my body.
Let's talk a little bit about what the capsules actually mean. Capsules basically, as soon as you put a foreign thing into your body, and this is probably the case, I don't want to talk about what for meshes and other stuff, but the body has a tendency to isolate that foreign object. So it forms its own capsule around the implant just to preserve all that in and not allowing it to flow into the body. Like a tissue that's vascularized, and it's a tissue. And in your case, the surgeon is actually renowned for removing the implant with the capsule all in one. It's a technique called unblock total capsulectomy, versus other surgeons, they would slice the capsule and remove the implant but leave the capsule in. Now, from your research, or from what your surgeon told you, why is that not indicated to leave the capsule in?
Because you leaving the capsule inside and that tissue that is inflamed, those toxins, they still go in your body. There are a lot of women that they actually did that explant, just not capsulectomy, and they were wondering after maybe months or years after the explant why they still have fatigue or brain fog, and that is one of the reasons, because they left that inflamed or like toxic.
Right, so it came down to the capsule. Basically, it's my understanding, I didn't have the surgery, but it's my understanding that it collects all the toxins from the implant itself in, and being sent to the pathology, it was proven that it was full of heavy metals, even bacteria such as E. coli, strep, all kinds of things, and like you said, mold. So who in the world would want to leave that in? But yet, from my knowledge, 99% of the surgeons actually do that. I'm still wondering till today why. And many women who had the surgery and were left the capsule in said that the surgeon said, no, it's better to leave it in because it still gives you that sense of fullness, or that, no, it's not destructive, it's not damaging. But actually, if you think about it, I don't want to shame any surgeon, but actually I just don't think they're specialized into delicately, finely removing or scraping all that in, because it's a complete different technique than just taking something out. So surgery that lasts, from my research, like an hour and a half, to what you've had 5 hours. That probably makes a big difference in the technique that your surgeon used.
So that's another reason why I chose him for this technique. And the fact that during the surgery, he takes different videos and pictures so you can see everything that was removed. I also heard some stories when surgeons are like, okay, we remove everything. And then those women, they realize that they still have the tissue or the capsule inside of their bodies. And the surgeon, they were not showing any pictures. But it's very important to see what was done. Very impactful. For me, it was a shock to see how I was breathing during the surgery.
Wow, and you actually got to see and watch your own video of the surgery.
Yeah.
So he provides that to you post the procedure.
It was emotional for me, honestly, because you know, I realized, wow, what I put my body to go through: implant, explant, 2 C-sections, and it's just like, I feel that this was an opportunity for me to get closer to myself and love myself. This is an act of self-love for me. Because for so many years I just neglected. I was focusing on my kids, my family. You know, I'm a mom, and us moms, we just think about everybody else, but us, we are on a
last place.
Now after the surgery, I have this, I guess, more awareness of my body and connection and self-love, looking at my body from a place of love and compassion, and being proud of myself.
Absolutely.
And loving it for like the resilience and how much it holds. And look, it's healing, and I'm here. So
we're so proud of you. And a little bit since you returned home, so the flight was okay, you were still numb or under anesthesia, under the secondary anesthesia probably.
In the airport, I want to mention, I'm sorry to interrupt, it's very important to have support now for the person that comes with you, to have a wheelchair when if you're in the airport. Myself, I ask for pat down, because you cannot raise your hands. It's a very like, you're limited, right? So your arms have to be around your body.
And I think that's a technique called
T-Rex
like
arms.
Right?
And so like this, up, down, so you can wash your face, maybe do a little makeup, brush, and everything. Like, it's very important also to have a
buttoned up.
Button up. And maybe also the flight attendant, to let them know, you know, I had a surgery. If I can get, actually my husband after the surgery called the airline, and he's like, I really need this, you know, a seat that is with more space. And they didn't even charge us, just because we mentioned that I had surgery. So they were very
nice, nice. Home and bless your husband, and I'm so happy and grateful that he was there for your support, because we couldn't fly with you. But since you got home, how did you integrate this process? And I mean, the doctor's not here to check on you, right? So how did you take care of yourself basically, and how did those around you take care of you to start just eliminating the anesthesia and heal and see yourself differently? That, I think that's such a huge component of this, our body image. And I mean, us women are strong, and you seem so resilient, like you said, but walk me through that a little.
At first was, I guess I went through like a grieving process, you know, seeing myself. Actually, I had a shock right after the surgery in the post-op appointment, when the doctor took pictures, you know, after, and I'm like, wow, it's a difference. Being in this phase of my life, I want to be more authentic and more feminine. And with my work, you know, as a life coach, I found different strategies on how to empower myself and to do affirmations and look at myself and going on this positive path. It was very important also for my husband to take off from his work and to have this support system. My in-laws, you guys, my friends, my kids, again, they helped me a lot with a lot of things, with preparing my food, with bringing me stuff. I cannot carry.
You technically cannot lift.
I can't lift anything
until you get clear. So for such a long surgery, 5 hours, it seems like it's different than the implant itself. I believe the implant was like an hour and a half surgery. What is the recovery period that the doctor suggested?
6 weeks for me. For example, when I sleep, I have to like sit down sleeping. I need to have some sort of like wrap around me so I don't move, because you know I like to do a lot of things and sometimes we forget, right? But I can reach. So that band around me, it's like a wrap. It doesn't let me move or reach for things.
See, I think I saw it online. It's almost like a belt, but around your chest, right?
And I have this.
Okay, it's a tool that helps you grab stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, very important. This we like button down, zipper,
angle,
20-degree angle. Yes, more in the at least 1 week or 2 weeks. Yeah.
And now you're at your 2-week mark, so yeah. I see you look so beautiful. So I assume you started a little bit like to dress yourself up.
I walk. It helped me a lot to walk. The healing, grounding, nutrition. Even before the surgery, the diet, anti-inflammatory, a lot of liquids, water, a lot, electrolytes.
I'm very curious, actually, what were some of all these techniques? And you're a coach, so I'm sure you can make a list of that and help other people. But I'm curious what kind of rituals in particular you did post-surgical to just help your mental state overall.
Even before and after, these breathing techniques. I would do affirmations. I would journal a lot, what I want to let go of with this surgery and what I want to bring in my life new.
So working on the emotions and release some of that. And
definitely very important. Grounding again, walking. If you're not too much into like rituals, like I would say, what I did, I would put on the paper some thoughts and I would burn the paper, rip the paper, and just to, okay, I release the anxiety, I release the fatigue, the brain fog, whatever was the problem before the surgery, just release that. I don't know if it's a placebo effect or what, but after the surgery, I felt like more released, more free, like a new person.
And here I am, and I came with a little bag of homeopathic tools, which can also be very helpful. And these are case-by-case basis. Yes, there are some post-surgical mixes, but you know, it depends on the case-by-case. In closure, I wanted to ask you if you actually recommend this surgeon to others from your overall experience.
Yes, definitely. I recommend Dr. Khan.
His name is Dr. Shaher Khan. K-A-H-N, forgive my spelling if it's not correct. He operates in Michigan from the clinic called Executive Plastic Surgery. But recently, he just opened up a clinic in California for whomever is closer to there. We're going to link his website below. There's plenty of information there about the transportation, where he's located, Airbnb and hotels next by, as well as his YouTube channel. You guys have to check it out. There's so much information that, you know, he linked in those videos for free. Symptoms list, the questions that you should address your surgeon if you decide to go with somebody else. And I just want to hear from you if you feel that he was supportive enough before and after surgery, and if he managed to alleviate your fears around the anesthesia, the whole process, the flying.
Yes, him and his entire staff. I was very intense before the surgery. My anxiety was to a different level, and I had access to his cell phone, and he answered all my questions. I think the first consultation that we had, it was like over an hour with all my questions.
Wow.
Anytime I would had text him or like call him, he would answer. I'll post up very like giving me follow up, asking me how I'm doing. Him and also his office. Like if I was asking the other day for the labs, you know, because he sends the pathology to, and there are different labs, different testings.
Sounds like his transparency is unmatchable, because I've done my side of research around the Miami surgeons, and to have a video live from the surgery, the photos, the ceremony of the capsule cutting, to see that exactly what came out of you and that he did the right job, not going home without knowing, did he remove the entire thing, was there still leakage on my tissues. I think truly that's what peace of mind is.
Yes, but the fact that the doctor showed me the leaking of both the capsules, I'm like, wow, I did the right thing. Because I think all of us, we have this fear. How about I do this surgery and I still have the symptoms? Maybe it's just in my head, like having proof on the videos that the implants were leaking. For me was like, okay, I did the right thing, and thank God I did it now, and I didn't wait more time to.
Right. It's like a validation, right? That it's not, it wasn't just all in your head. And talking to you, for me, is just like, why didn't we do it earlier? Well, I haven't done it yet, like I said, soon, hopefully, but all I can think of is, why didn't we do it earlier? Or better off, why did we implant it at all, right?
Now, I got a lot of questions. Why don't just change them after 10 years, right? We have to change them and that's it. You know, technology, now there are different materials and they're not toxic, but they're foreign bodies inside of our body. That cannot be, right? It's not natural.
Forever. Nothing is.
Yeah, and it's not even, but it's not healthy to have.
Of course, it's a toxin at the end of the day. Well, many things are toxin, but these are 350 cc's, or some women go up to 600-700 cc's. Plastic bags dragging us down
with heavy metals and silicone and
physically,
mentally, ingredients that are toxic for our body, brain.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate giving me the time and all the tips, and I feel more informed, and I hope whoever's watching will get the necessary resource to make the right decisions for themselves. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.